Good morning, everyone.
Thank you very much. And first of all, thanks to all the office bearers of National Science Center, Dinesh Malik Sahab, Kailash Chandra Sahab, Director Sahab, Dr. Ayyar Sahab, Srivastav ji, for giving me this. For giving me this opportunity to be amongst all of you today. And not only that, I know that the weather gods were not very kind in the morning, and all of you must have taken some courage to actually be here, because it was really raining very heavily in the morning, and I was wondering whether at all the event would go through. But thankfully the skies have opened up, and I'm glad to see a sizable audience and many students here. मैं अगर होता तो शायद तीन बारिश में शायद स्कूल भी ना जाता. But thank you very much for attending this lecture. And as Chandra Sahab very rightly said that cancer is catching up fast. It's something that is becoming the bane of our times these days. And as a result of that, we cannot just shy away from reality. We cannot pretend that it is not happening, it is not increasing. It is something which is a reality of today, and we have to face it, whether we like it or not. So, if I were to just talk about cancer, अगर मैं सिर्फ आपको statistics, graphs, charts ये सब दिखाऊं, so it will all be very boring for you. So I've tried to make this lecture very interactive. I'll be happy if the audience would participate, especially the kids. I'm sure many of you must be science students, and many of you must be medical aspirants. आप लोग में से कई लोग ऐसे होंगे जो आने वाले 1-2 साल में नीट एग्जाम की तैयारी करेंगे, and you'll be preparing to take your medical entrance exams, and all the very best for that. So I would be happy if all of you could come up and make this lecture more interactive. This slide is where the problem statement starts. So amongst all the cancers in the world, and especially in India, breast cancer is the most common cancer amongst females and overall in India. Oral cavity is the most common cancer in males, और हमारी country में oral cavity cancer is very very common because of tobacco, pan masala, gudka, khani, and many of our industry stalwarts have a role to play because of surrogate advertising that we see every day, Bolo, Zuma, Kesari, and all those things. And that is how it actually starts off, You start with very almost harmless things, and that you never realize when one thing leads to another. Cancer is responsible for causing 20% of all deaths in India. The reason primarily is that a large majority of cancers, almost 70% of the cancers, are detected at a late stage, wherein we cannot fight for cure, we only fight to control the disease. The next statistic is very important, that every year 5.5 lakh people die from cancer in India. Let that figure sink in. During COVID, 5 lakh people were reported to have died in 1 year during the 2021 wave, and that created such a huge mayhem across the country. And we all know कि हम लोग कितने बुरे वक्त से हैं. We've actually seen some real bad times. Imagine the same amount of people dying every year, and yet it goes unnoticed. That is the burden of cancer in a country like India. And therefore, it is important to realize that India is soon going to become the cancer capital of the world. And today we have the third largest cancer patient population after China and USA. And this is the race which we don't want to win, mind you. And therefore it is very important that we detect the cancer early so that complete cure can be established in some cases. Now this is just my first slide. Now from here on, I'll give my lecture a different twist. And this is where the fun begins, and I want all of you to be a part of the fun. Anybody? What is that picture on the screen? 1963 November. Humble beginnings of what? Anybody? Yeah. You're close, not ISRO. Oh, wonderful answer. You deserve a chocolate. What's your name? Yeah? Shaurya. Which school you are in?
Indian school.
Very good. So Shaurya has been spot on. 1963 November. India's very first rocket called Nike Apache launched with the help of the American technology. At that point of time, this picture is actually taken from a small field in a village called Thumba near Thiruvananthapuram. You can actually go and just Google about it, India's first rocket. So Nike Apache was the name of the rocket, and a very small village in Kerala, Thumba, is where the rocket was launched from, and we did not have the technology to transport the rocket parts to the field, and therefore we used bullock carts and bicycles to transport that rocket to the launch station. And the two stalwarts who actually established ISRO, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam and his mentor, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, were instrumental in launching India into space. And this is an image which needs no introduction. From 1963 till about 50 years, 60 years later, in 2023, this is the image of young India, aspirational India, India which will stop nothing short of the moon. And today's generation, all of you here, are actually emblematic of that aspiration that India has, which says, Mujhko Chand la ke do. India became the first country in the world to launch a space shuttle on the south pole of the moon. This is what we achieved from 1963 till 2023 in India's space program. Let me draw a parallel now here. Another picture quiz for you. What is that? 1975. Anybody amongst the audience? What do you see? I heard someone say the right answer. Aryabhatta, Mani sir, chocolate for you as well, sir. Okay, but आप अपने तरफ से किसी को दीजिएगा. So this is a very good answer. 1975, India's first satellite, Aryabhatta. How many of you have heard of Aryabhatta? All of you. So that is Aryabhatta, India's first satellite. So at the time when India was launching its first satellite in space, Aryabhatta, this is what the cancer cell looked like. हमें कैंसर के बारे में इतना ही मालूम था जितना कि इस डायग्राम में दिख रहा है कि एक कैंसर का सेल होता है जिसमें साइटोप्लाज्म होता है, जिसमें एक न्यूक्लियस होता है, उसके अलावा उस सेल में और क्या होता है हमें नहीं पता था. This was our rudimentary and very basic understanding of cancer in 1975. Hold your breath. At the time of Aryabhatta, this is what we knew. And at the time of Chandrayaan, this is what the cancer cell looks like today. This is what oncology means today to us. So oncology today is just completely a different field from what it was earlier. A range of different targets, a range of different molecules, a range of different pathways which can be targeted to achieve cancer treatment, right from markers on the cytoplasm, on the cell surface, receptors on the surface of the cell, inside the cytoplasm, on the nucleus, inside the nucleus, and a crosstalk between these pathways which enables us to treat cancer in a completely different manner. And that has transformed the way cancer is treated today. What exactly it means? So in the 21st century, this is the first myth we are going to break today. Is cancer a death sentence in the 21st century? The answer is an emphatic no. That is because today cancer is not treated just by the old means. Today cancer is treated by something that we call as targeted therapy. So what is targeted therapy? Well, a targeted therapy means we use a smart bomb rather than a cluster bomb where you actually destroy a larger chunk of the population. So what is targeted therapy? We actually precisely identify a particular cancer target, as I just showed you. That particular target that becomes the buzzword for that particular patient, which the drugs attacks and inhibit that target in specific quantities, stops the cancer cell and stops the growth without harming the other normal cells of the body. How do we identify these targets in a cancer cell? So, by taking a small chunk from the tissue, from the cancer cell, from the cancer tissue, by doing a biopsy and doing molecular testing on those tissues, we can identify certain targets which can help us to treat cancer differently than just chemotherapy. Sometimes when tissue chunk is not available, we can even utilize blood and try to find out circulating tumor DNA or cell-free DNA which the tumor cells are releasing into our blood continuously, and try to extract genetic information from the blood, hoping that the cancer cells will be shedding some amount of their DNA in the blood as well. This is what the power of targeted therapy looks like. So this was a young, around 38-year-old lady who presented to us in July 2022. You could say this is the right lung, that is the left lung, and all of this is disease. So this is all disease in the right lung. She was actually vomiting blood when she came to us. She was admitted, we took a biopsy from the lung, sent it for molecular testing. Thankfully, she was found to have a molecular alteration in the biopsy called RET, R-E-T, RET fusion. Now this allows us to treat the cancer by a simple tablet. Now she was a stage 4 cancer patient at 38 years of age with a 10-year-old child. We gave her that tablet. It was not available in India. It was available outside. So we wrote to the company to allow us to use this drug on a compassionate basis for her. That company was kind and generous enough to send us free supplies of that drug, which they're still sending. It is not yet launched in India. That drug is called sulpercatinib. Just by that one drug, one tablet taken every day, like a diabetes pill, like a hypertension pill, see what happens in April 2023, just 10 months down the line. That cancer has vanished. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a stage 4 cancer. That is the power of targeted therapy. This is another picture. Imagine the amount of lung damage that has already accrued. In other pictures, you could also see that she had metastasis of the cancer had spread to the bones also, but this is what it eventually became. That is the power of targeted therapy. So, breaking second myth, is cancer always hereditary? Anybody in the audience? No. Wonderful. So, what percentage of cancers are hereditary? Anybody? So, around 10 to 12% of cancers, of all cancers, are hereditary in nature. When I say hereditary, that means you inherit the genes either from your father or from your mother, which predispose you towards developing a cancer. That doesn't mean just because you've inherited that gene that you will necessarily get cancer, as we shall discuss in the next slide. Identify the lady on the cover of this magazine. No points for guessing that. Everybody knows Angelina Jolie. Okay, the chocolate will come for telling me why she was featured on the cover of Time magazine in May 2013. Anybody, just raise your hand. Yes, tell me. No, she didn't have breast cancer. Yes, Shaurya, again.
Sir, I think she supported some cancer.
No, she didn't support a cancer group. Yes, ma'am. Oh, so that's very close, and I think I'll give you a chocolate for that. Wonderful. What's your name, ma'am? What's your name? Gauri. Which school you're from? Bharati Vidya Bhavan Mehta Vidyalaya. Mehta Vidyalaya, is that so?
Yes, sir.
Correct. I've been to that school. I've won a Munshi Memorial competition at your school long ago, 1992. So wonderful, Gauri. So yes, so Angelina Jolie has a very interesting story. She did not have breast cancer. Angelina Jolie's mother died of ovarian cancer at the age of 54 years. Her nani also had some unknown problem which at that time went undetected because उस time पे लोगों को इतनी मालूमात नहीं थी कि क्या हो रहा है, क्या problem है, cancer क्या होता है. Her masi also died of some similar problem. So when genetic testing became available in the US around 2010 or 11, she consulted her genetic counselor and told her history. And she said that this is what I have been through in my family. I don't have any problem. What should I do? So her genetic counselor asked her to undergo a genetic test for a gene called. Who said BRCA1? There at the back.
Sir, BRCA1.
BRCA1. Wonderful answer. What's your name?
Samriddhi Halia.
Samriddhi, which school?
The Indian school.
Great, wonderful. Samriddhi, that's a great answer. So BRCA stands for breast-related cancer antigen, BRCA, and there are two isotopes of that gene, BRCA1 and BRCA2. So she tested positive for one of these genes, BRCA1, and that is what was causing so many cancers in her family. So she asked her doctor, what should she do? She doesn't have cancer yet, but she has an enhanced risk of getting cancer. You know how much? So if the risk in the general population, anybody in here, of getting breast cancer is around 8%, if someone was to harbor that BRCA1 gene, this risk would shoot up to 60 to 70%. If the risk of having ovarian cancer in the community, in the general population at large is 2 to 3%, then having a BRCA gene would enhance that risk to 55%. And amongst males, if you have a BRCA2 gene, amongst the general population, the risk of getting a prostate cancer is around 0.3 to 1%, but with a BRCA2 gene that goes up to 30%. That is the magnanimity, the magnitude of this particular gene. So she had that gene, maybe she inherited from her mother, maybe from her nanny, through her mother and inside her. So the doctor asked her, has she completed her family? And she said yes. She had 3 children biologically of her own and 3 she had adopted. So the doctor asked her to remove both her ovaries and her fallopian tubes surgically so as to minimize the risk of getting ovarian cancer. And the doctor also told her to get both her breasts removed surgically so that she could get reduction of the risk of breast cancer by around 70%. So she did what her doctor said. She got both her breasts removed, got artificial breast implants done, she got both her ovaries and fallopian tubes removed. And by doing that single step of risk reduction surgery, she brought down the risk of cancer happening to her because of this gene by 60 to 70%. Not just that, imagine what she did. The impact on BRCA testing, and that is why it came to be known as the Angelina Jolie gene or the Angelina Jolie effect. Over the next 1 month, 40 publications documenting pivotal change in people's behavior and perception towards BRCA. Increased patients' inquiry for BRCA-related cancers, increase in referral for testing, increased self-funded BRCA testing, a 64% increase in BRCA testing rates in just 15 days after the publication of this editorial. And more people who tested positive for BRCA started opting for bilateral mastectomies, that is removal of both breasts, as prevention in carriers as well as non-carriers. By doing this one courageous step, she created cancer awareness to an extent which 1,000 oncologists shouting at the top of their lungs for 1 year would not have been able to do. And this is what Angelina Jolie actually became famous for, and she was honored by being made the Person of the Year on the Time magazine cover in May 2013, and I think just for that one courageous step, she deserves one great round of applause. Mind you, when patients come to us and they have cancer, they're scared of surgery. Even when we tell them that surgery is going to potentially cure you of the disease, unko dar lagta hai. Here, Angelina Jolie did not have cancer. She's an actress. Her body figure, her own body image is important to her. The way she presents herself in public. Imagine taking a bold and courageous step like getting her breast removed. So, my next picture is also a quiz. These two gentlemen, who are they? Steve Jobs was easy. The other person is? Dr. Manohar Parrikar. Chandra Saab is absolutely right. So you want a chocolate? Or you want me to reserve it for the kids? Okay. So our late Defence Minister and the former Chief Minister of Goa, late Manohar Parrikar Sahab, and Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. What is common between these two gentlemen? Anybody? Cancer. Yes, cancer. But which cancer are we talking about?
Pancreatic.
Who said pancreatic? Wonderful, ma'am. Great. So one chocolate for ma'am as well. Ma'am, which school are you from, ma'am?
The Indian schools.
Wonderful. The Indian school is a very oncologically aware school, huh? Okay. So yes, both these gentlemen were actually suffering from pancreatic cancer. Now hold that thought. I want you to remember, we were talking about breast cancer, ovarian cancer when I talked about Angelina Jolie. We are talking about pancreatic cancer when I'm talking about Steve Jobs and Manohar Parrikar. Identify these individuals. Who's this person? This guy. I'll give you a hint. He is the longest serving James Bond. Roger Moore, absolutely wonderful, sir. The James Bond of your era. So Roger Moore, the longest serving James Bond. Who's this gentleman? Academy Award winner. Come on, young kids. You watch Hollywood, yes sir? No, he's not Raj Kapoor, he's a Hollywood actor. So, Academy Award winner, he is Robert De Niro. We all know Nelson Mandela, and this gentleman is a very famous American TV show actor called Mandy Patinkin. Okay, another chocolate, find the common link. Oh, I know, obviously. Thank God you didn't say movies, huh? But which cancer? Which cancer? Come on. Huh? No, not. Terminal is like end stage cancer, but which cancer?
Prostate cancer.
Huh?
Prostate cancer.
No, not lung cancer.
Prostate cancer.
Come again. I heard the correct answer coming here from somewhere.
Prostate cancer.
Who said prostate cancer? Wonderful answer. Wonderful answer. Big round of applause for her. What's your name, ma'am?
Lavanya.
Huh?
Lavanya.
Lavanya. Other schools, you need to actually, up the ante. Indian school is going to walk in with all the chocolates I have, okay? So yes. So Roger Moore, Robert De Niro, Nelson Mandela, Mandy Patinkin, all of them were diagnosed with prostate cancer. And now I'm going to join these dots. Breast cancer and ovarian cancer brought into limelight by Angelina Jolie. Pancreatic cancer, we talked about Steve Jobs and Manohar Parrikar. And prostate cancer, these four gentlemen, and this is the gene that we are talking about, which is BRCA1 and BRCA2. And this is something that I just told you. Breast cancer, 8 to 12% in India, but if you have BRCA1, the chances go up to 50 to 80%. With BRCA2, around 70%. Ovarian cancer, 1 to 2% in the general population, the risk. 40% if you have a BRCA1 and 20% almost if you have a BRCA2. Male breast cancer, the chances of a male having a breast cancer is about 0.1%, but if somebody has a BRCA1 gene, even males can get breast cancer, 2%, and BRCA2 around 10% risk. Imagine, 0.1 say 10%. This is like 100 times the risk. Prostate cancer, 30% if BRCA1 and BRCA2 are there. And pancreatic cancer, in the general population, the risk is only 0.5%, goes up to 3 to 7% if you have a BRCA gene. That is what genetics in cancer is actually responsible for. I was just speaking with Malik Saab and Chandra Saab before coming here. It is generally said about cancer that genetics loads the gun and environment pulls the trigger. So Angelina Jolie had not really had cancer by the time she was detected with having BRCA gene. She may or may not have developed a cancer, but the genetics was there, the gun was loaded. It was only waiting for environmental factors to make the situation conducive for the development of cancer. And this is now the power of targeted therapy again. The magic bullet, olaparib tablets, very simple to take pill, and this actually can help us treat those patients who harbor BRCA mutations, BRCA1 and BRCA2 mutations, and this tablet is approved for the treatment of cancers which are actually resulting from somebody having a BRCA1 or a BRCA2 gene, whether it is a breast cancer or an ovarian cancer or a pancreatic cancer or a prostate cancer. Just a simple pill helps you to overcome those ill effects of chemotherapy, avoiding the ill effects of chemotherapy and just keeping the cancer at bay by taking a simple pill. That is the power of targeted therapy. So this myth मैं बहुत बार सुनता हूँ, and please यार आप लोग सोशल मीडिया वॉरियर्स हो, मैं व्हाट्सएप के इस यूनिवर्सिटी के जवाब को दे के थक गया हूँ. Everybody comes to me and says कि सर बायोप्सी नहीं कराएंगे, कैंसर को छेड़ देने से कैंसर फैल जाता है। मुझे नहीं पता ये कहां से बातें, ये कहां से किस तरीके की बातें निकल कर आती हैं। So this is absolutely irrational, unfounded, unscientific. बायोप्सी करने से कैंसर नहीं फैलता। वरना मेरे पास 2 मरीज स्टेज 4 में आते हैं जिनका कैंसर ऑलरेडी फैला हुआ है और उन्होंने अब तक बायोप्सी नहीं कराई, वो कैसे फैला? उनकी तो अभी तक बायोप्सी हुई भी नहीं। कैंसर स्प्रेड्स थ्रू ब्लड। यस, देयर आर अ फ्यू कैंसर्स जिनमें हमको बायोप्सी करने की जरूरत महसूस नहीं होती, उनका डायग्नोसिस हम विदाउट बायोप्सी बना सकते हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल, किसी को ब्लड कैंसर है तो सिंपल ब्लड टेस्ट से डायग्नोसिस हो सकता है। फॉर एग्जांपल, किसी को अगर टेस्टिकुलर कैंसर है तो उसमें ब्लड में ट्यूमर मार्कर्स एंड इमेजिंग यानी पेट स्कैन एंड सीटी स्कैन के मदद से हम पता लगा सकते हैं कि ये कैंसर है। उसमें हमें बायोप्सी करने की जरूरत नहीं है। किसी को किडनी का कैंसर है तो उसमें नीडल नहीं डालना चाहते, वो पूरे का पूरा किडनी एज सच रिमूव किया जाता है। वी डोंट पोक अ नीडल इनटू द किडनी, अदरवाइज देयर इज अ चांस दैट यू मे upstage the disease by causing spillage of the cancer cells inside the abdomen and a few other cancers. ज्यादातर कैंसर्स में बायोप्सी करना एसेंशियल है। It not only establishes the diagnosis, it also gives you the molecules for testing for targeted therapy. अगर आप बायोप्सी करके मटेरियल नहीं निकालेंगे तो कैसे टारगेट ढूंढेंगे अपने कैंसर में जिससे कि आप एक ज्यादा स्पेसिफिक एंड टारगेटेड थेरेपी ले सकें। So please go out and on all your Instagram or WhatsApp or so from Facebook, please put it out loud. Performing a biopsy does not cause cancer to spread. So please take your doctor's advice for that and don't fall prey to such myths. Okay, next question. Identify the 7-time Tour de France winner. Come on, you young people, you must know. Anyone who's into cycling, into sports, this guy is a champion, has won the Tour de France 7 times, which is one of the most difficult to win cycle races in the world. Anybody? There at the back. I saw some people who I thought would be cycling enthusiasts over there. Anybody? No? Okay. So this guy is Lance Armstrong. Have you heard the name? So Lance Armstrong is a 7-time winner of Tour de France. तो टूर डी फ्रांस एक साइकिल रेस है जो हर साल फ्रेंच एल्प्स पहाड़ों के बीच होती है, जिसमें कि कई दिनों तक ये रेस चलती है। यू गो थ्रू द प्लेन्स, you go through hills, you go through rivers, you pick up your cycle on your head and you run through the watery areas and all the difficult terrains, and this actually culminates in a very, very exciting final event, almost like a Formula 1 race. Lance Armstrong has won that race 7 times. Tell me, which cancer did he have? Anybody? Yeah? No, not pancreatic. Anybody else? Not bone cancer. Come on. Testicular cancer. Wonderful answer from the lady down there. Who said that? What's your name? Urvashi. Which school? Be loud, please. Great. So Urvashi is absolutely right. That is testicular cancer, and this is why I brought the biopsy actually into place. He did not have to undergo biopsy. He actually had to remove the affected testicle so as to get the diagnosis and so as to get cured of the disease. So that is the importance of understanding that even in situations where you feel that getting a testicle off would result in decrease in his masculinity, decrease in his strength, no, he's a 7 times Tour de France winner. In fact, even after having one testicle removed, he went on to become a father. So, debunking another myth, chemotherapy is the only way to treat cancer. Absolutely not. We have been discussing targeted therapy, we have been discussing personalized therapy. Chemotherapy is an important part of treatment of cancer. We used to treat cancer with chemotherapy right in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even today chemotherapy is used as a backbone of many cancer treatments. But that is not the only way of treating cancer. Okay? No points for guessing this. Pehchan kaun? Firoz Khan and Vinod Khanna. Okay. Let's connect the dots. Oh, that is First, connect the dots here. So this was a very famous movie in 1980. Qurbani went on to win the Filmfare Award also, starring both Vinod Khanna and Feroz Khan. Obviously, I'm talking about cancer, so don't tell me that they both had cancer. Yes, they both had cancer. Interestingly, they were very close friends, and both of them died on the same date, 8 years apart. April 27th, 2009 was when Feroz Khan passed away, and April 27th, 2017, 8 years later, Vinod Khanna passed away. My question is, which two cancers are we talking about here? No, not blood cancer. Who said bladder? Bladder cancer. Who had bladder cancer? Which of the two? Vinod Khanna had bladder cancer. Great answer. What's your name, ma'am? Wonderful. Okay, no problem. We have one more until I'm exhausted of all chocolates. Okay, yes. So Vinod Khanna had urinary bladder cancer. What about Feroz Khan? Who said lung cancer? There at the back. Great answer. Wonderful. Okay. In the school we have competition now. Things are hotting up and my chocolates are finishing, but good. Great. That's what it was intended to be like. So yes. Okay. Great excitement and good answer now. Both these girls, wonderful answer. It's not very well known. Feroz Khan had lung cancer and Vinod Khanna lost his life because of urinary bladder cancer. Who is this gentleman? No, it's not George Bush. Okay, I'll give you a hint. He's still alive and he's the longest ex-US president to be alive, who will soon turn 100 years old on 1st of October this year. 39th president of the United States of America. Anybody? Franklin Roosevelt? No, it's not Roosevelt. No, it's not Bill Clinton. Okay, so this gentleman is Jimmy Carter. Oh, I just heard who's an ass. You could have actually answered. Okay, so Jimmy Carter, he was the 39th US president. He's 99 and a half years old. On October 1st this year, he will be turning 100 years old. And we all know this is Sanjay Dutt. Which cancer? Lung cancer. Everybody knows Munna Bhai is suffering from lung cancer. And Sanjay Dutt also is suffering from stage 4 lung cancer. Now I'm talking about lung cancer when I talk about Feroz Khan and Sanjay Dutt. I'm talking about urinary bladder cancer when I'm talking about Vinod Khanna. And I'm talking about Jimmy Carter. Which cancer? The third cancer. Another chocolate for telling me which cancer is Jimmy Carter suffering from. No, not blood cancer. Who said skin cancer? Wonderful answer. Please give a big round of applause. So yes, Jimmy Carter. So this is actually something that connects everything. Immunotherapy, the new kid on the block, the new drugs which are enabling and transforming the future of oncology is immunotherapy. So what is immunotherapy? Immunotherapy are drugs which are just given like a glucose infusion through the veins, and these drugs actually increase and enhance your own immunity to fight against the cancer cells. So your body's own immunity has actually forgotten that cancer is not a part of their body. And therefore, they allow cancer cells to keep multiplying, the cancer cells to keep consuming your energy, your body's nutrients, and take the nutrients from your body for their own growth. आपकी बॉडी भूल चुकी है ये समझना कि ये हमारा बॉडी का पार्ट नहीं है, ये एक्चुअली हार्मफुल है. सो इम्यूनोथेरेपी ड्रग्स आपकी बॉडी की इम्यूनिटी को रीएक्टिवेट करती है, जगाती हैं और बोलती है कि ये तुम्हारा दोस्त नहीं है, दुश्मन है, इसको मारो. And it actually increases your own immune responses to fight cancer. That is the new kid on the block which is being used to treat cancer. And this immunotherapy is actually responsible for extending the life of Jimmy Carter. This is how he looks like 5 years ago. Very interesting story, just Google it up. 2015 में Jimmy Carter was diagnosed with last stage skin cancer, melanoma. And this cancer had spread to his brain and had spread to his liver. ब्रेन से उसकी स्पॉट को सर्जरी करके निकाला गया एंड उस बायोप्सी पे प्रूव किया गया कि स्किन का कैंसर है जो ब्रेन में चला गया है. अराउंड दैट टाइम 2014-15 में immunotherapy was actually becoming available in the US and that treatment was started for Jimmy Carter. 10 साल बाद today he is disease free. He's actually had multiple falls at home because of old age. He's had multiple health related issues because of his age. And now, after the death of his wife 3-4 years back, he's still surviving and he's now decided to go into hospice care. He doesn't want any more treatment of cancer if it was to recur or come back. And he just wants to spend the rest of his life under hospice without any active treatment. This is the power of immunotherapy. If it was not for immunotherapy, maybe we would not have been talking about Jimmy Carter today being alive and being the only ex-US president who has outlived many others and will be turning 100 years old in October this year. Another myth to be broken, side effects of chemotherapy are very painful and can't be avoided. बहुत सारे पेशेंट्स हमारे पास परेशान होकर आते हैं, सर कीमोथेरेपी तो बहुत पेनफुल होती है, बहुत तकलीफ होती है, बहुत दर्द होता है. ऐसा नहीं है. So कीमोथेरेपी के साइड इफेक्ट्स होते हैं, इसको कोई डिनाई नहीं कर सकता. But try to weigh that side effect by the effects of disease. अगर आप डिजीज को बढ़ने दोगे तो आप साइड इफेक्ट्स तो बच जाओगे, लेकिन बीमारी के इफेक्ट्स से कैसे बचोगे? एंड दीस डेज वी एक्चुअली हैव ड्रग्स एंड वी एक्चुअली हैव मेथड्स टू रिड्यूस द साइड इफेक्ट्स ऑफ कीमोथेरेपी. हाउ? वी जस्ट सी. वी ऑल नो दिस इज युवराज सिंह. ओके, व्हिच कैंसर? नॉट ब्लड कैंसर. ये ब्लड कैंसर के लिए सब लोग धोखे हाथ धोके बढ़ गए. So he had cancer in a space called mediastinum. तो हमारे राइट और लेफ्ट लंग के बीच में जो स्पेस होता है ना, चेस्ट में, उसको mediastinum कहते हैं. He had cancer in the mediastinum, but it was not lung cancer. It was actually a germ cell tumor. Germ cell tumor means the cells which arise from the testes, and these cells are virtually distributed in different areas of the body. And he had a mediastinal germ cell tumor. Chest में, and he was also vomiting and coughing out blood when he was winning us the World Cup in 2011. He was the man of the series in the 2011 World Cup. He was treated by chemotherapy, not targeted therapy, not immunotherapy. इंडिया में अगर युवराज सिंह का ट्रीटमेंट होता तो उसको जो कीमोथेरेपी दी गई है उसका कॉस्ट 5,000 रुपए से ज्यादा के नहीं है, not more than 5,000-6,000 rupees. But why he went to the US, he's actually written in his own autobiography, was because of the sake of privacy. Because इंडिया में हमारे यहाँ लोगों की हेल्थ को और उनकी प्राइवेसी को मेंटेन करने का कल्चर नहीं है. We actually just want to intrude in everyone's lives and know what's happening. So just to avoid the focus of the paparazzi and the media, he went to the US to take treatment with chemotherapy. He lost his hair, and mind you, treatment खत्म करने के 6 महीने बाद, he made a comeback to the Indian national team and went on to score his highest one-day score after coming back from cancer. So those people who believe कि कीमोथेरेपी से तकलीफ होती है, कमजोरी आती है, साइड इफेक्ट्स होते हैं, युवराज सिंह, ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause. So I'm just finishing up with a few inspiratory slides. So cool cap. These are actually newer modalities of reducing the side effects of chemotherapy. So you can actually see this lady, she's wearing a cap. इस कैप में एक जेल होता है, जैसे कि हमारे वो आइसक्रीम के ठेलों में जो जेल नहीं होता जो कि आइसक्रीम को ठंडा रखने के लिए होता है, which is like dry ice. So when we plug this machine to a power outlet, it cools your scalp. और आपके स्कैल्प कूलिंग की वजह से कीमोथेरेपी के टाइम पर आपके हेयर फॉलिकल्स को ब्लड सप्लाई कम हो जाती है, बिकॉज वहां के ब्लड सर्कुलेशन के वेसल्स कंस्ट्रिक्ट हो जाते हैं. एंड एज अ रिजल्ट द हेयर लॉस ऑफ कीमोथेरेपी इज अवॉइडेड बाय 25 to 30%. हेयर लॉस बिल्कुल ना हो ऐसा नहीं होगा, बट बिल्कुल कोई बैड हो जाए ऐसा भी नहीं होता. सो दोस लेडीज एंड दोस पेशेंट्स हु हैव अ प्रॉब्लम ऑफ लूजिंग हेयर, उनको हम ये कूल कैप ऑफर करते हैं, एंड दैट हेल्प्स देम टू अवॉइड द हेयर लॉस. You can actually see that she is wearing gloves. इस ग्लव में भी वही ठंडा करने का एक तरीका है, and she is actually wearing cold gloves so that कीमोथेरेपी की वजह से उनकी नर्व्स को डैमेज ना हो. वरना बहुत सारी कीमोथेरेपी से उंगलियों की और पैरों की उंगलियों की टोस की जो नर्व्स हैं, they can get damaged and sometimes that can result in neuropathy which can manifest as tingling sensation, numbness, pins and needles sensation and weakness of the nerves. So उनको भी ठंडा कर देने से it has been shown in studies that neuropathy के side effects भी कम होते हैं. There are injections which can counter the side effects of chemo, filgrastim and darbepoetin injections. ये injections कीमोथेरेपी से होने वाले लो ब्लड काउंट्स, लो हीमोग्लोबिन, लो WBC काउंट को बढ़ाने के लिए हम कीमो के बाद देते हैं ताकि पेशेंट्स की इम्यूनिटी डाउन ना हो एंड वी कैन एक्चुअली इंक्रीज द ब्लड काउंट्स आफ्टर द कीमोथेरेपी सो दैट पेशेंट्स डोंट गेट life threatening infections as a result of reduced immunity. Another very common myth, cancer is contagious. Please tell your neighbors, your friends, your colleagues, कैंसर पेशेंट के साथ बैठने से, उनकी सेम प्लेट से खाना खाने से, उनसे हाथ मिलाने से, उनसे गले मिलने से, उनसे बात करने से कैंसर नहीं फैलता. कैंसर इज नॉट इंफेक्शियस, इट इज नॉट कंटेजियस. ये छूत अछूत की बीमारी नहीं है. इट इज नॉट समथिंग लाइक कोविड कि आप किसी कैंसर के मरीज से मिले तो दूर से मिलें, मास्क लगाएं, हाथ न लगाएं, ठीक से बात करें, ऐसा नहीं है. यस, कुछ इन्फेक्शंस ऐसे जरूर हैं जो कि कैंसर करने में मदद करते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, इन्फेक्शन विद वायरसेस लाइक हेपेटाइटिस बी एंड हेपेटाइटिस सी मेक फर्टाइल ग्राउंड्स फॉर डेवलपमेंट ऑफ लिवर कैंसर. Infection with Epstein-Barr virus makes important for lymphoma. And as we all know, young girls are out here. Human papilloma virus, which cancer am I talking about? जिसके लिए अभी वैक्सीन घोषित की गई है. Not uterus. Cervical cancer. Yes. So cervical cancer is actually 95% of cases are linked to human papilloma virus. So कुछ viruses यानी infections की वजह से कैंसर के लिए फर्टाइल ग्राउंड जरूर तैयार होता है, बट कैंसर अपने आप में इंफेक्शन नहीं है और एक से दूसरे को नहीं फैलता. Some forms of tobacco do not cause cancer. ये बिल्कुल मिथ है, ऐसा नहीं है. हर तरीके का तंबाकू कैंसर करता है. In fact, there are more than 70 chemicals in tobacco smoke which can cause different types of cancer from anywhere in the body. You name the organ and it will be having a cancer related to tobacco. Lung, larynx or your voice box, nose, oral cavity, esophagus, your food pipe, liver, pancreas, cervix, urinary bladder, as well as blood cancer. So tobacco, all forms में, चाहे वो inhaled tobacco हो, cigarette smoke का, चाहे chewed tobacco हो, everything can cause cancer. And this is something which the young generation really needs to know. Because I've been told that in many schools around Delhi and NCR, vaping is the new culture, and many teachers, many counselors have come up to me. I was at a school at Shalimar Bagh in DAV, and the counselors came up to me and told me that they confiscate vaping devices in school. And if that is happening, then it's really, really scary. आप सब में से Netflix कौन देखता है? Okay, so Netflix पे एक सीरीज है, Big Joule. Sorry, Big Vape, B-I-G, Big V-A-P-E, Big Vape, note it down. 4 एपिसोड की डॉक्यू सीरीज है, वेब सीरीज, which tells you the evolution of how these vaping devices actually came into being और कैसे इन्होंने यूएसए में एक पब्लिक हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम और एक एपिडेमिक प्रोपोर्शंस का हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट किया, जिसकी वजह से 2018 में वेपिंग एंड ई सिगरेट्स को यूएसए में बैन किया गया. उससे इंस्पिरेशन लेते हुए 2019 में इंडिया और इजराइल में भी वेपिंग को और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक सिगरेट्स को बैन किया गया. आई एम अवेयर कि ये वेपिंग डिवाइसेस अभी भी हमारे कंट्री में, हमारे देश में, हमारे सिटी में आसानी से मिलते हैं. आप सब लोग स्कूल्स में ऐसे शायद अपने फ्रेंड्स को जानते होंगे जो ये वेपिंग एंड ई सिगरेट्स करते हैं, बट प्लीज टेल देम दिस इज इक्वली हार्मफुल. ये एक नई डिवाइस है, हमें इसके लॉन्ग स्टैंडिंग इफेक्ट्स के बारे में आज से 10 साल बाद मालूम चलेगा, पर क्या तब तक इतनी देर हो जाएगी? आप उस चीज के लिए प्रिपेयर हो? आर यू विलिंग टू बी the guinea pigs of something that might be harmful and we will know it 10 years later? हमें 3 साल 2015 से 2018 में यूएसए में जो वो हुआ, if you see that documentary on Netflix, Big Vape, you will know कि उससे कितने लोगों का जीवन बर्बाद हुआ. People lost their lives. Young 15-16 years old kids who were addicted to vaping actually lost their lives. So please stay away from it. Does alcohol consumption increase the risk of having cancer? Yes, absolutely. So again, just like tobacco, mouth cancer, voice box cancer, throat cancer, cancer of the food pipe or esophagus, even breast cancer, liver, colon and rectum are all linked to consumption of alcohol. So the less alcohol you drink, the lower is the risk for cancer. आज की डेट में कहा जाता है सिटिंग इज द न्यू स्मोकिंग. बैठे रहना और मोटापा, वजन बढ़ाना, एक्सरसाइज ना करना, ओबेसिटी एंड सेडेंटरी लाइफस्टाइल इज द न्यू स्मोकिंग. उसके होने से हमारे कैंसर का रिस्क उतना ही बढ़ता है जितना स्मोकिंग से बढ़ता है. कैसे? सो हम जब ओबीस होते हैं, जब मोटापा आता है, तो आपके कैंसर की, आपके फैट सेल्स के अंदर ऑक्सीजन की कमी होती है, एंड दैट क्रिएट्स an atmosphere of inflammation in the body, and many inflammatory mediators are released from the fat cells in the body. These inflammatory mediators create an environment of stress in the body, and this stress is responsible for culminating into DNA damage or genetic damage, which culminates into number one, insulin resistance, जिसकी वजह से डायबिटीज होता है, फैटी लिवर होता है, and in extreme cases even cancer. सो मोटापे की वजह से कुछ कैंसर्स डायरेक्टली लिंक्ड है. कोलोन यानी लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन का कैंसर, रेक्टम का कैंसर, ब्रेस्ट का कैंसर एंड यूट्रस का कैंसर. दीज आर द इंपॉर्टेंट कैंसर जो कि क्लियर कट ओबेसिटी से कनेक्टेड है. दैट मींस जो लोग ओवरवेट है, जिनका वजन ज्यादा है, ओबीस है, उनके अंदर ये कैंसर्स होने का रिस्क लेस ज्यादा है एज कंपेयर टू वो लोग जिनका वेट वेल कंट्रोल्ड है. Pollution and cancer is there a link? Yes, according to WHO, second-hand smoke जो pollution में हम लोग देखते हैं, it has been known to be proven as a tier 2 carcinogen, और उसकी वजह से कैंसर होने के chances को ज्यादा पाया गया है. This is my final slide. So what have we learned today? The key takeaway of today's lecture: cancer is not treated only with chemotherapy in the 21st century, and the myth that we have busted today is that cancer is no more just a death sentence in this age. Acceptance within the medical fraternity for the newer and more effective tools for cancer treatment is very important. Only when we accept it will we be able to tell the public to accept it. Awareness within the patients and the general public at large that cancer is not treated only by chemotherapy, and it does not always mean a death sentence. The important thing for our government and private insurance agencies is to understand that these drugs may be costly today, and therefore it is important to rationalize the cost of treatment so that it is easier for everyone to afford it. Many of you maybe will go on to become public health individuals who will have a decision in making policy, and therefore it is important to make these drugs affordable for the general public. And the government and private insurance schemes should cover genetic testing, which they don't cover today, so that the newer modalities of treatment can actually be reached out to for the last person standing on the line. Because only when we reach the last person who really needs that treatment will we be actually extending the path of hope to him. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for such an enlightening talk. I think आप सब लोगों को बहुत बेनिफिट हुआ होगा. जितना बेनिफिट हुआ उतनी एक बार ताली बजा के बताना. Now we will request Dr. Saab for question answer session. Those who have questions, please raise your hands. Yes.
Namaskar. Sir, I have two questions. As you told about the immunotherapy, I just want to know, is it related to monoclonal antibodies or similar to that? Number one. Yeah, and number two is, as you told about the obesity, there are the people who have hypothyroidism, where the T3, T4 level reduces and sometimes lead to the increase in the body weight. Is it all related to the cancer later on?
So wonderful, two very relevant questions. So yes, the very first question regarding immunotherapy. So immunotherapy drugs are actually, yes, humanized monoclonal antibodies, and they actually work to attach themselves to certain receptors in our body called PD1 or PDL1, which is full form stands for programmed death 1 or programmed death ligand 1, And these monoclonal antibodies actually prevent the interaction of PD-1 to PD-L1 so that the T cells of our body are able to recognize the cancer cell. So yes, they are monoclonal antibodies, but they work in a way to increase our immunity, and therefore the immunity itself fights the cancer. Regarding hypothyroidism, so whenever there is weight gain because of hypothyroidism, it cannot result in a weight gain of more than 3 to 4 kgs. And that weight is not something which is very difficult to actually lose. If you're taking thyroid tablets and your thyroid TSH levels return to normal, then that weight can get normalized. So just that 3 or 4 kg of increase of weight is not something which will increase your risk of getting cancer by becoming obese. Because 3-4 kilo वजन ज़्यादा होने से you don't become overweight, you don't become obese. But obesity is a multifactorial disease. The more important thing is that you have to inculcate some sort of exercise and physical activity in your body. हम में से कई लोग अक्सर ये कहते हैं यार मैं तो रोज 4 मंजिल ऊपर रहता हूँ, मैं दिन में 4 बार अपने घर ऊपर जाता हूँ, 4 बार नीचे आता हूँ, कभी सब्जी लेने जाता हूँ, कभी बच्चों को स्कूल लेने जाता हूँ, अपने ऑफिस जाता हूँ, वहां भी मैं उस सीढ़ियों पे चढ़ता हूँ. That is not exercise. What you do every day is your daily routine. आपकी बॉडी उसको accustomed हो चुकी है. Exercise is something that is over and above what is your daily routine. So 30 minutes to 45 minutes of a brisk walk or a jogging or running on the treadmill or even skipping at home is something that constitutes physical activity or exercise. Yes, there will be certain people who will not be able to do that because of their joint problems or age-related issues and so on and so forth. But some sort of physical activity is important. Whether you do a brisk walk, whether you go for yoga, or maybe you join a gym. So some sort of physical activity which is over and above what you do as a daily routine is important, so that you can bring about reduction in the levels of these inflammatory markers which are released in the body as a result of being overweight.
Thank you. Next question, please. Yes.
Good morning, sir. I am Nisha from the Science Institute. So my question is, as a doctor, what are the, maybe you go through some challenges still a day. So what are the main challenges you are still facing in the research of a cancer?
So in terms of challenges, I would say there are challenges on the level of the patient and challenges on the terms of logistics. So many of the times the challenges that patients face and we face in the clinic every day is the acceptance for cancer. किसी को भी जब कैंसर होता है तो most of the times लोग उसको पहले first phase होता है denial, मुझे नहीं हो सकता, ये कैसे हो गया, मैंने तो आज तक कुछ ऐसा नहीं किया. दूसरा फेज होता है शॉक, तीसरा फेज होता है एंगर और चौथा फेज होता है एक्सेप्टेंस. हम लोग ये चाहते हैं कि ये एक ह्यूमन टेंडेंसी है एक बुरी बात को अवॉइड करना या डिनायल करना, बट द सूनर यू एक्सेप्ट इट द बेटर, बिकॉज उतनी जल्दी आपका इलाज शुरू होगा. सेकेंड प्रॉब्लम इज कि लोग कैंसर के डॉक्टर के पास आने से डरते हैं. एक सोशल स्टिग्मा और एक टैबू है. यू नो देयर आर women who come to me and say हम नहीं चाहते कि इसको ज्यादा परिवार में लोगों को मालूम चले, कल को मेरे बच्चों की शादी नहीं होगी. अरे ये क्या बात है? अगर आपको कैंसर है, हाउ डज इट बिकम अ सोशल स्टिग्मा फॉर यू? आपको परेशान हो खुद. व्हाई शुड एनीबडी एल्स रेज अ फिंगर ऑन यू? इट्स नॉट योर फॉल्ट दैट यू फॉलो. कल को आपको बुखार है तो आप किसी से छुपाते थोड़े मुझे बुखार है. आप तो एप्लीकेशन लिखते हो कि मैं आज स्कूल नहीं है, मुझे बुखार. तीसरा जो प्रॉब्लम हम देखते हैं, तो पहले मैंने बोला सोशल स्टिग्मा, दूसरा मैंने बोला टैबू है. तीसरी प्रॉब्लम ये होती है कि जो मैंने कहा लॉजिस्टिक्स के बेसिस पे कि बहुत सारी कैंसर ड्रग्स जो हैं वो कॉस्टली हैं और इसलिए बहुत सारे लोग उन कैंसर ट्रीटमेंट्स को अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाते जो कि उनको वो डिजर्व करते हैं. एंड एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम कभी कभी ऐसा लगता है कि इतनी रिसर्च, इतना डेवलपमेंट होने के बाद भी अगर हम वो दवाइयाँ मरीजों तक ना पहुँचा पाएँ तो इसमें कहीं ना कहीं हमारी और हमारे सिस्टम की विफलता है, हमारी इसमें कमजोरी है. सो चैलेंजेस तो और भी बहुत सारे हैं. बहुत सारी ड्रग्स ऐसी हैं जब इंडिया में आती हैं तो बहुत कॉस्टली होती हैं, बिकॉज उनके लिए इतना रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट किया गया होता है वेस्ट में. हमारे यहाँ क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स होते नहीं हैं. हमारे यहाँ कोई भी ट्रायल की बात करो किसी मरीज से तो कहते हैं जी मुझे गिनी पिग बना दिया. पर कोई भी नई दवाई, जैसे कि कोविड वैक्सीन जब इंडिया में आई थी तो उसके भी तो ट्रायल्स कहीं ना कहीं हुए ही थे. कोई दवाई शुरू से तो नहीं मालूम होता कि वो काम करेगी कि नहीं करेगी. सो वो एक कल्चर, एक वो इन्वायरमेंट हमारी कंट्री में अभी एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता कि आप क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स होने के लिए कंड्यूसिव एनवायरनमेंट बनाएं, और कोई दवाई अगर सक्सेसफुल होके मार्केट में आती है तो उसके पीछे 10 ऐसे मॉलिक्यूल्स होते हैं जो पहले फेल हो चुके हैं, बट पैसा तो उनकी रिसर्च में भी लगा हुआ है ना। तो जो कंपनी वो एक सक्सेसफुल ड्रग बनाती है वो पिछली 10 फेलियर्स का भी तो इसी ड्रग से अपना सारा सच्चा निकालेगी। सो वो बेसिक्स चीजें हमें समझनी पड़ेंगी इफ वी आर टू इनकलकेट एन एनवायरनमेंट ऑफ रिसर्च एंड क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स इन आवर कंट्री। She wanted to ask a question. Yeah.
Good morning, sir. I am Lavanya from the Indian school. So my question was that you talked about a tablet to treat cancer. So can you elaborate how does it kill the cancer cells?
Okay, so I talked about a drug called olaparib. Olaparib belongs to a class of drugs called PARP inhibitors. So PARP is actually an enzyme which is responsible for DNA repair. So हमारे जो ये ब्रका वाले कैंसर्स होते हैं उनके लिए ये दवाई दी जाती है। तो ब्रका इज ऑल्सो अ DNA रिपेयर एंजाइम। तो अगर ब्रका एंजाइम किसी एक कैंसर सेल में म्यूटेटेड है नहीं है तो वो अपने DNA के रिपेयर के लिए दूसरे मैकेनिज्म्स पे डिपेंडेंट हो जाता है जो कि है पार्प। और अगर आपने पार्प को भी इनहिबिट कर दिया तो उसका दूसरा DNA रिपेयर मैकेनिज्म भी आपने रोक दिया, कि अगर उसका एक पैर कटा हुआ था ब्रका के ना होने से, आपने उसका दूसरा पैर भी काट दिया तो वो चल नहीं सकता, तो आपने उसको एक पैर के कटे होने से 2 पैर के कटे होने में तब्दील कर दिया, एंड दैट सेल विल इवेंचुअली डाई। सो बेसिकली दिस मैकेनिज्म इज कॉल्ड सिंथेटिक लीथैलिटी। दैट मींस आपने एक वीकनेस को जो जिसके साथ वो कैंसर सेल म्यूटेटेड फॉर्म में था, आपने उसके दूसरे सहारे को भी हटा दिया, एंड दैट कैंसर सेल नाउ इज अनेबल टू रेप्लिकेट बिकॉज अब उसके अंदर के डीएनए को वो रिपेयर नहीं कर सकता। So these oral tablets can work in only certain situations जहां पे आपके पास ब्रका म्यूटेशन हो और वो रिलाय कर रहा हो दूसरे पाथवे पर और वो पाथवे आपने ब्लॉक कर दिया। So ऐसे डिफरेंट ड्रग्स अलग अलग तरीके से काम करती हैं। कुछ और ड्रग्स हैं, so these drugs are basically for BRCA related cancers. Then there are other drugs which are targeted drugs for blood cancers जो कि अलग तरीके से काम करती हैं। So all these oral drugs will have different mechanisms of action. Yes sir.
हमारे पिछले डायरेक्टर श्री डी रामा शर्मा जी मौजूद है, तो वो आपसे कुछ क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहेंगे।
नमस्कार सर। Cancer cells are part of our body. The excessive growth and controlled growth results in the formation of the lumps and then the cancer. So you are talking about the environment in the body that facilitates it. What is that environment which facilitates the growth of these things in the body? And it is also said several places, people talk about the acidity in the body is one of the main cause, and if you can maintain the alkalinity in the body throughout, and the absence of intake of sugars would reduce that fertility of the environment so that the cancer doesn't grow. So this is a kind of a thing we are hearing and listening. What's your...
Sir has asked me 3 very very important questions. I was hoping कि कोई ये पूछेगा, वरना मुझे उस पर अपनी स्लाइड नहीं बनाई थी मैंने। So number 1 जो सर ने पूछा regarding stress in the body and environmental factors. So मैंने शुरू में कहा था कि genetics loads the gun, environment pulls the trigger. So हम सबके अंदर जो genetic environment है वो डेली हमारे सेल्स मरते हैं और नए सेल्स बनते हैं। आपकी स्किन के सेल्स, आपके बाल, आपके इंटेस्टाइन के म्यूकोजा के सेल्स डेली नए बनते हैं। आपके रेड ब्लड सेल्स, आपके वाइट ब्लड सेल्स मरते हैं और नए बनते हैं। इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग ये है कि आपकी बॉडी के डीएनए को उसी फॉर्म में बरकरार रखना इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर डीएनए इंटेग्रिटी। अगर कहीं भी वो डीएनए का मिसमैच होगा तो वो जेनेटिक डैमेज एक्यूमुलेट होगा जो कि कैंसर में तब्दील होगा। तो जो इन्वायरमेंटल स्ट्रेस की सर ने बात करी, अगर कोई स्मोकिंग करता है, दैट सिगरेट स्मोक, दैट टोबैको लीड्स टू मोर एंड मोर डीएनए एरर्स। अगर कोई अल्कोहल पीता है, वो आपके डीएनए के डैमेज के अंदर, आपके डीएनए के रिपेयर के अंदर डैमेज को और ज्यादा बढ़ाता है, उसको रिपेयर नहीं होने देता। ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम जब ये डीएनए एरर्स अक्यूमुलेट होते रहते हैं, whether it is smoke, whether it is alcohol, whether it is chemicals, whether it is hormones in your diet, जो हम खाना पीना खाते हैं उसमें जो हमारी फूड चेन में घुसता है, whether it is any external environmental influence like pollution, all these stress factors hamper our DNA, and that susceptibility of of our body cells to become cancerous with accumulation of this DNA eventually results in the formation of cancer. दूसरे सवाल जो सर ने किया कि चीनी के पदार्थों के सेवन से कैंसर बढ़ता है, और एक और आपने पूछा सर कि अल्कलिनिटी के नजरिए से. सो हाइपर एसिडिटी, जो हमारे पेट में एसिड बनता है ना, हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड, उसका pH 1 या 2 होता है. आप सबने अपनी बायोलॉजी की क्लास में पढ़ा होगा. वो इंपॉर्टेंट है हमारे डाइजेशन के लिए. अगर वो ना हो एसिडिटी तो हमें खाना हजम नहीं होगा, हमें बदहजमी हो जाएगी. बट बहुत सारे पेशेंट्स को जब रिफ्लक्स होता है, एसिड ऊपर की तरफ आता है, तो आपको हार्ट बर्न, गैस्ट्रिक रिफ्लक्स, एसिड पेप्टिक डिजीज, अल्सर्स ये बनते हैं. ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम दिस एसिडिटी, हाइपर एसिडिटी अगर ये ऊपर आए तो इट कैन रिजल्ट इन द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ ईसोफेगस कैंसर. बट पूरी बॉडी के पीएच को आप चेंज नहीं कर सकते. द fact, the statement about converting the body's pH into alkaline pH to avoid cancer is just a myth. इसके लिए कोई सच्चाई, कोई रैशनल, कोई साइंटिफिक एविडेंस नहीं है. हमारे स्टमक में pH 1 या 2 होता है, एंड एज यू मूव फॉरवर्ड इन द कोलॉन उसका pH अल्कलाइन हो जाता है. वो हमारी बॉडी का नेचुरल मैकेनिज्म है. हमारे ब्लड का नॉर्मल pH 7.35 से 7.45 होता है. वो उसी रेंज में रहना चाहिए. अगर उससे कम हुआ तो एसिडिटी हो जाएगी बॉडी में, उससे ज्यादा हुआ तो अल्कलिनिटी हो जाएगी. बट अल्कलाइन पानी पीने से कैंसर कम होता है, ये सिर्फ एक फैड है, ये एक मिथ है. उतना ही मिथ ये भी है कि चीनी खाने से कैंसर सेल्स बढ़ते हैं, इसलिए शुगर नहीं खाना चाहिए. मैं सवाल ये पूछता हूं कि अगर चीनी के खाने से कैंसर बढ़ता है तो जितने भी दुनिया में अनकंट्रोल्ड डायबिटीज वाले लोग हैं उन सबको कैंसर हो जाना चाहिए. उनकी बॉडी में तो शुगर बहुत ज्यादा है. एंड रिवर्स शुड आल्सो बी ट्रू. जिनको डायबिटीज नहीं है उनको तो कैंसर भी होना चाहिए क्योंकि उनकी बॉडी में शुगर कंट्रोल में है. तो शुगर के बढ़ने से कैंसर बढ़ जाता है, ये गलत है. इसके पीछे ये फैक्ट शुरू कहां से हुआ है? हम लोग कैंसर पेशेंट का स्कैन कराते हैं, पेट स्कैन. उस पेट स्कैन में एक डाई दी जाती है एफडीजी. एफडीजी स्टैंड फॉर फ्लोरोडीऑक्सीग्लूकोज. वो इसलिए दी जाती है बिकॉज कैंसर सेल्स एक्टिवली डिवाइडिंग सेल्स होते हैं, तो उनको ग्लूकोज की जरूरत होती है. तो वो डाई को जल्दी जल्दी अपटेक करते हैं क्योंकि वो ग्लूकोज बेस्ड डाई है. तो क्योंकि कैंसर सेल्स को ग्रोथ के लिए ग्लूकोज चाहिए, तो लोग कहते हैं जी ग्लूकोज ही मत लो, कैंसर सेल्स मर जाएंगे. तो अगर हम ग्लूकोज नहीं लेंगे जो कि हमारी बॉडी का फ्यूल है, तो हमारे नॉर्मल सेल्स भी तो मर जाएंगे. तो ग्लूकोज इज द फ्यूल ऑफ आवर बॉडी. आपके 2 सेल्स ऐसे हैं जिनको ग्लूकोज के अलावा कोई दूसरी चीज चाहिए नहीं, ब्रेन एंड आरबीसीज. इनके अंदर ग्लूकोज का घुसना विदाउट इंसुलिन की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ती. विदाउट इंसुलिन the glucose can enter the brain cells and RBCs because they are essential for functioning of these cells. So इसलिए चीनी के ज्यादा सेवन से कैंसर बढ़ता है, ये इरैशनल है, इसके पीछे कोई थॉट नहीं है. बट हाँ, शुगर को मॉडरेशन में लेना चाहिए बिकॉज शुगर अपने आप में बहुत सारी दूसरे लाइफस्टाइल प्रॉब्लम्स के लिए जिम्मेदार है, जैसे कि डायबिटीज, ओबेसिटी, इंसुलिन रेजिस्टेंस, मोटापा. तो इन सब चीजों से बचने के लिए शुगर का इंटेक मॉडरेशन में होना जरूरी है. अदरवाइज आप अगर इसलिए कम चीनी ले रहे हो कि उससे कैंसर कम होगा, तो ऐसा कोई एविडेंस नहीं. थैंक यू.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू लॉट.